Good morning, everybody. Today is a big day. Today is the update release of TrueNAS Scale Fangtooth, the first beta. This is the first time we're getting out of nightlies, which are under heavy development, which is a fancy way of saying are pretty buggy, to a more stable system, which is beta. So I'm going to show you guys, if you're running Electric Eel, which is what I'm running right now, you can see here I'm on Electric Eel 24.10.2, the same test machine I've been using for a lot of my videos. I'm going to click the check for updates, and you're going to see now we have this little train drop down. So we can click this little drop down here, and we can click the beta for Fangtooth. We're going to click yes, we want to confirm update trains, and it's going to say this is the upgrade you're going to perform. It's TrueNAS Scale 24.10.2 to the new 25.04-beta 1. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply this pending update. I'm going to pause this video until the update is complete. Then we'll come back and we're going to go over all the differences in detail. So I'm not going to save my secret seed because this is just a test server. I suggest you guys do that. I'm going to apply my updates and now it's downloading. So we're going to pause here. I'll come back when our update is complete. Okay, our update is done, and we are now looking at the brand new dashboard, more or less, of Fangtooth. You'll notice here there's actually not a lot of changes. So some of the stuff is working, some of it is not. Right now, the CPU bar temperature widget is not supported yet. This is just the default. I haven't messed with this dashboard yet. Everything else looks pretty the same. I never made any dashboard customizations to this when it was Electric Eel. Mainly because it's just a test machine and I didn't really care about this. My personal TrueNAS machine has got a little bit more of a customized dashboard, but I'm going to show you some really cool stuff about that in a minute because the first thing you're going to notice is I have a big fat warning up here under alerts. It says new ZFS version is feature flags are available for pool tank. So long story short, every single time that the ZFS file system receives an update, which it did, along with the kernel running on TrueNAS Scale, we're going to get this little warning. So it's recommended you read the TrueNAS release and then confirm your ZFS. Okay, so it's going to tell you to do all that. So let's click this little expand. It says, okay, so let's now go to storage. We're gonna address this. So this is the pool tank. What you're going to see here is now I have this new little button called upgrade. This is using the old ZFS file system and the new ZFS file upgrade needs to be applied to this pool. Now I'm going to tell you, this is a one-way operation. If I choose to click the upgrade button here, that means it's going to be using the new ZFS. If I do that, I'm going to lose the ability to change and roll back to Electric Eel. So you guys always have the option of coming to system boot, and you see this is the new beta, and this is what I was on before. I could always click this little button right here to activate and then restart my TrueNAS machine and roll back to Electric Eel if there's something in beta that's going on that I don't like. That opportunity always exists for me until I upgrade the storage. If I upgrade the storage, I will not be able to roll back properly. So this is a one-way operation. I'm going to choose to go forward and upgrade because I don't care. It's just a test machine. But if you're running this in something that's production or something you really care about, you may want to hold off on that. You're not going to really be missing anything unless you're going to try and use any of the new ZFS features. You can go to the ZFS documentation and see what ZFS has changed apart from TrueNAS and what version TrueNAS is now using. So I'm going to upgrade that and I'm going to click confirm, continue. There we go. So now you'll see my error went away. So everything else is just basically telling me about updates and some scrubs that have finished. So we're going to dismiss all that. And now we're good. So let's go back to the dashboard. I was talking about some of the customization. Let's look at our new customization here, over here, and add another one. The one that I want to show you guys is going to be the new apps widget. So let's come over here in apps. We have 5 widgets available. This is the new apps widget, and this is really cool. So right now it's pointing at Nginx Proxy Manager. I'm going to do that. I'm going to add this just like this. And where did it go? It's all the way down here. So now I'm going to add another one. So that's Nginx. I'm going to add another app, and I'm going to add one for Nextcloud, which I also have up and running. I'm going to save that. And there they are. So we can pick and drag and move these around. I'm going to move these around a little bit. I'm going to say I want these. Let's move you over here. I want to move these all the way to the top. That one's going to go up there. And that one's going to go there. I'm just clicking these little dots right up here. And I'm going to click and drag, and it'll automatically move stuff around. I don't even like the CPU usage for a core. Let's delete this. That didn't end up working. So let's save that now. So that's pretty cool. That's a really cool new, that doesn't exist on an Electric Eel as far as I know. This is only in Fangtooth. So this is a really cool thing that I saw that in terms of an overview, it's a pretty quick overview. It'd be, oh, so that's cool. So now we have the app details here. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to our storage. What else? Oh, sorry, our dashboard. What else does that do? I can restart the app right from here. I can go to the web portal. Let's go to the web portal. Oh, that's cool. It's going to open up right there. So yeah, that's working out pretty well. So that's a pretty cool little thing right there. What about my Nginx? Yeah, look at that. So that's a pretty cool little thing. Now, if you've got a lot of apps running, obviously this is going to be a challenge to do that. But that's up and going. What else is in here in apps? So that's what I've started so far, and this is all through the app catalog. So I'm actually going to show you guys something now because I want to deploy an app. I'm going to deploy Radar and see if I can get a widget going for that because I hadn't actually tried that yet. So we're going to discover app, and we're going to do a custom YAML for Radar. Like this. Let's post that app. So now we're up and running with Radar, and that's already going. That looks good. So now I'm going to come back here to my dashboard and see if I can get a widget for that. Let's come down here and let's configure this and let's add a widget. We're going to add an app widget, and our application is going to be Radar. Yes, we can. Look at that. Let's save it. So it doesn't have the really cool icon. That's going to be something I think that they're going to allow to upgrade in the future, but that's pretty cool. We got our memories usage here. Unfortunately, it also doesn't have the little web UI thing because that hasn't been integrated yet where I can just click it and go right into it. But that could be cool. Now, again, if you guys are running tons and tons of apps, this might get a little cluttered, but you might want to be able to see all that in your dashboard. So this is pretty cool. This is really cool that's up and running. Okay, so that covers the ZFS pool update and the app's IP. Now, one question you might be asking is, I'm going to come back in here because I want to delete this app. Actually, I want to show you guys something. We're going to come over here and we're going to delete. And the reason for that is I like to use Radar as a test program. It's super small and super simple, and it's really easy just to test. One of the big changes that we just talked about in the documentation was going to be the ability to do an individual IPs per app. So when I come over here to Discover Apps and I type Radar, and I'm going to want to refresh my catalog because there we go. So now I can have all the cool, pretty pictures. When I hit install, the goal is going to be eventually by the time the release comes is when I come down here to network configuration, there's going to be an option here that's going to give me the ability to choose the IP address, not just the port. And I'm going to show you guys that in the documentation. This is the documentation for Electric Eel and IP addressing right now. Again, this is going to be the Fangtooth improvements. So they're saying Fangtooth is going to include the additional enhancements to the web UI, allowing for a per app selection of IP addresses from any available aliases, in other words, any open IP addresses you have. This is planned to be a simple drop-down selection, allowing for easy selection and further separation of duties for network interfaces for users who are making use of multiple different protocols supported by TrueNAS. This is going to be available in Fangtooth. Right now in the beta, it is not. As you can see, this is not working. I can come over here. They want to make it in the web UI, which would be somewhere here in the network configuration. I've also already checked network. There's nothing here that's going to help me get my apps on some kind of individual IP basis. So that's the kind of, we're not there yet, but if you're one of those users that cannot wait and to do all your apps on different IPs, not just different ports, that's coming. That's coming, and that's promised in the documentation for Fangtooth, but it's not here yet. So let's jump back over here. The big change now, again, you'll see the new little logo for Community Edition up here. Again, because we're going to Community Edition, this is no longer going to be called Scale. The storage, data sets, shares, data protection, network tab, apps tab, reporting tab, and system tab all have not changed. None of these things are any different. The big change is now we have an instances tab. This used to be called virtualization. This is not virtualization anymore. This is now called instances. The first thing we have to do is select our pool to launch instances. I'm going to use Tank. I'm going to use an automatic bridge and the IPv4 network. I'm going to leave all this stuff blank for default values. Now, what I've noticed is you'll probably actually want to create a bridge before you do this. There's another video I'm going to be posting soon about creating bridges on TrueNAS Scale. There's another one up there right now by Captain Stux, which is really good. I'm going to do our own version for servers at home, but in the event you want to launch an instance that has access to the host, you're going to want to use a bridge, not the default networking. We'll get into that at a later time. Let's come in here and do some fun stuff. Let's create a new instance. Oh, by the way, you could always come back here and manage your volumes or global settings that we just adjusted. So everything we just did, we can change. So this is the IP network that it's selected by default to give all my new containers and virtual machines. And this is the IPv6 network that is selected. So I'm not going to touch any of that for right now. Eventually, we're going to go over creating a bridge, but that'll be a different video. So let's create a new instance. Right now, I'm going to do a Linux container, and this is going to be Ubuntu-VM. Just like that. My image, I'm going to want to browse the catalog. I'm going to use, now this catalog is pretty cool. If you've never seen the other video I've done for the nightly release and the preview of Fangtooth, welcome. What we have the option to do here is pick a bunch of pre-selected images. Now you don't have to select these images. In fact, you can come over here. I'm going to do VM. You can come over here for a VM, you can use a Linux container image, you can use an existing ISO image that you have, or you can use an existing Z volume. So if you guys already have a Z volume with a VM that you're running, you can use your existing Z vol and use the location that it's at and use that and not worry about losing anything. We can use custom ISO images. When I click select ISO, this is the manage images. So I have the ability here to upload an image from my hard drive that I've saved. So if I have a custom Ubuntu ISO, if I have a Windows 10 or 11 ISO that I've modified to allow to update and install without using the stupid Microsoft accounts, whatever, all kinds of different things. If you have any custom volumes that you want, any custom ISO files, you can upload them here and use that. I am going to be using the images found in linuxcontainer.org. They're amazing. Let's browse the catalog. So this is the options I have for all the VMs. So I'm going to go slow here. We have all the Alpine images, which is the super lightweight ones. We have Arch, we have Debian, we have Fedora, we have Gentoo, NixOS, OpenSUSE, and down here we have Ubuntu, which is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be on Noble, and this is going to be the AM64 default. I'm going to select this image right now, and it's going to show you what image I'm here. I'm going to use all my CPUs, and I'm going to use about 5 gigabytes of RAM, just like that. And I can type in GIB and hit tab, and it'll automatically do all that for me. I'm going to increase my disk size to I'm going to leave it as 10. You guys can do more. You guys can add more disks if you want. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to worry about proxies. You have the option of overriding the network settings here. So this is the default that it chose. I can uncheck that, and I can say I want to attach this ENS18 and go with a different NIC versus the default one, but I'm going to go with the default one. I have USB pass-through here, VNC for remote desktop, and the security. I'm just going to leave all this blank because this is just a quick demo to show you guys what's optional. I'm going to hit create. I'm not going to fast forward. This is actually the speed that it's going. You can hear by the sound of my voice, and this is not any kind of fancy overlay. This is the actual speed. It's very, very fast to download, unpack, and actually install this VM. That's it. It's done. So this is it, and this is running right now. And we can see some metrics over here. These will kick on in about a minute. The CPU percentage, the memory, and the disk pressure that we're using. Let's launch something else. Usually these were working before. I think they'll be working if I click out and click in again. We still got a little bit of ways to go. Let's create a new instance, and now we're going to do a container. So this is going to be an Ubuntu LXC, and this is a full-on LXC just like you get in Proxmox. Let's browse our catalog. Again, Alpine. There's a little bit more here. There's Alt, Amazon Linux instances. They've added some stuff to this catalog. Debian, if you want to run that. Here's all the Fedoras. Oh, Kali's in here too. That's interesting. Mint, which is beautiful. Come over here. I'm going to come all the way down. OpenSUSE, Plamo, Slackware, Ubuntu. So it's going to be Ubuntu Noble, the default image. Ubuntu Noble default. This is the one that I want. And I'm going to leave these blank. Now, if you want to limit the amount of CPU and memory this has access to, you can put that in here, and that will be the limiter. If you leave them blank, it's going to have access to your full system, which is what I want. We have the option to do environment variables, add more disks, add proxies. The bridge is automatic again, and USB pass-through devices. I'm going to leave all that standard. Again, this is full speed. I'm not fast forwarding or cutting this video in any way. This is actually downloading and installing in real time. So now our LXC is up and running. Let's shell in if it is going. There we go. And there we are. We're in ID. So you can do an apt update, for example, and I will show you everything here is working just like it would be. Probably make this bigger so you guys can see it. So everything is up to date. Apt upgrade. Let's do a -y. So there we go. It downloaded this image. It's not even anything available any more than this. So that's our instances. And now I've done an LXC and a VM just like that. See, now these metrics are working for my LXC. For some reason, my VM is just being a little bit difficult. But again, this is beta software. We are not all the way there yet. This is not the release candidate. This is not going to be the stable. But the containerization seems to be a little bit farther ahead than the VMs. Really, really cool. I'm a huge fan of LXCs and containerizations over VMs just because they're so dynamic with the way they use resources. I think it's amazing. So this is pretty much it right now. Now, if you're a Proxmox person, you might be thinking, hey, where's the privileged container option? Where's the option to do all kinds of other things that are available in Proxmox that are not available in TrueNAS yet? None of that I've seen. And I'm not even sure if that's planned for this instance of Fangtooth. That might be an update for later. But if you're wondering about all the other additional controls that you might get with something like Proxmox or ESXi, I don't see those yet. This is actually a very stripped down interface. This is just pretty much getting TrueNAS to run well on Incus. Everything after that, I think, is going to be an additional feature in the future. But right now, we're kind of slim with the ability to actually manipulate these LXCs and these VMs. And I'll show you edit, for example. This is when I click edit VM. I can come back in here. I don't have the ability to add the VNC anymore. That's already been made. And it's auto starting right now. I'm actually going to turn the auto start off. Let's come in here and edit the LXC. Here I can increase my limits and write environment variables. I'm going to uncheck auto start. That's the only options I have right now. So again, a little bit limited, but it's just thrilling to even see TrueNAS going in this direction. But that is all the changes that I've seen so far between Electric Eel and Fangtooth, which is really exciting though. The ability to do this in VM container management, that's been the largest complaint for TrueNAS. The other huge complaint is a per IP based on apps, which is supposed to be on the way. So that will hopefully happen in the next video when they do the RC1 release, which will be the next video we do on this series. I'm hoping that I'll be able to demo that for you guys. One of the really cool things you can do right now is start messing with your dashboards. You guys can see here that I deleted radar, so it says not found. So that's pretty cool. So I can come in here and delete that. That's smart enough to know that, and it's smart enough to know these apps are down right now. So let's come back in here, and let's come down here, and let's just trash this, and then hit save. And that worked perfectly. So the dashboard is looking like it's coming along nicely. I'm going to show you guys kind of the release schedule, what the timeline looks like for what's going to happen in the future. So this is where we are right now. We have just had the 28 January release about 2-3 weeks ago for Electric Eel 24.10.2. This is going to be the last update for Electric Eel. So if you're on 24.10.2, your next and only option is going to be to go to Fangtooth. This is the beta release. It was just released today, which is why we're doing this video. This is going to be pretty stable, but a lot of people are not going to want to run this in their home lab because it's not 100% stable yet. It is still beta software. It's better than the nightlies, but not as good as this, which is the 2504 RC1. This is called the release candidate. This should be almost indistinguishable from what's going to be the stable release in 15 April. So if you're waiting to say, hey, I really want to push forward to this because it has something I absolutely need, you can give the beta a shot, but my strong recommendation is going to be wait for the release candidate to run anything in production. And even TrueNAS will tell you, do not run anything that's not stable in production. But I've had great success with the release candidate, so I just wanted to show you guys what the timeline looks like as we move forward. Okay, now we're going to go over the 25.04 release notes. So this is going to be the documentation for 25.04. The biggest problem with the documentation is it's not done. In fact, this documentation, especially if I come over here to the API, the reference guide, and I expand these things, this is just a copy and paste from 24.10. And the issue with that is there are some major changes that are not reflected here. But I'm going to go over these bullet points one at a time. And I'm going to try and show you guys some of this in the new version that's in this tab over here. So NFS over RDMA support is the first major change they made. You have fiber channel support here, iSCSI and Z volume, block cloning, versioned over TrueNAS JSON RPC over WebSocket API, user-linked API keys, improved UI login experience. This is the first one you guys are probably going to notice unless you're working with some very serious advanced features, which are what these first few bullet points are. Improved state compliance and security focus. Again, that's mostly for enterprise. Enable for support for ZFS fast deduplication. This is going to be a pretty cool feature depending on whether or not you're using that. Most people aren't. The new and improved virtualization features are going to be the highlight of the changes. So 2504 changes the virtualization hypervisor from the previous KVM to what's now going to be called Incus. Right there for virtual machine deployment and Linux system containers. So we're both going to VM and LXC using what's called Incus, which is a lightweight isolation function similar to jails and TrueNAS Core. If you're coming from TrueNAS Core, on other videos I talked about this, TrueNAS Core is not going to exist much longer. The product will always be out there, but the next upgrade path for TrueNAS Core is in fact Fangtooth. And I'm going to show you guys that in the other tab to show you what it looks like. But long story short, there's going to be two versions of TrueNAS Scale going forward. There's going to be the Community Edition and there's going to be Enterprise. There will no longer be Core and Scale. Those labels are going away. So the jail function has pretty much been moved forward, kind of not the exact jail function, but something similar to jails has been moved forward from Core into the Community Edition using Incus. I'm going to show all of that in this video. And the improvements to the TrueNAS app service, including a per app selection of IP addresses, hugely requested feature. I'm hoping to be able to demo that in the beta if it is up and ready to go. But I hope you guys liked this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel. If you did, leave any comments of things you want to see in the comments below. If you have really detailed questions, please see us on Discord. And if you want to say thank you, buy me a coffee.